Scorpio, you are up for the November Love Tarot Energy Reading. Before I go any further, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Okay. So, the general readings for November are already up for all of the signs, Scorpio. So, if you haven't checked out the general readings for November, check those out. We're still technically in October as I'm recording this. All of the readings are up for October for all of the signs. The general readings, the love readings, and the money readings are up. Also, I just did a new moon in Scorpio reading for the collective. And I plan on doing a Halloween reading, hopefully within the next few days or so. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Whatever reading you watch or listen to, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it's not your story, don't try to make it fit. I'm just a person sitting here reading energy and the tarot cards. You know your energy and situation better than I ever could. Now that I've said all that, let's get into the reading. May I have the energy for Scorpio for November? May I have the energy for Scorpio for November? May I have the energy for Scorpio for November? What is it that Scorpio needs to hear? What is it that Scorpio needs to hear? What is it that Scorpio needs to hear? May I have some cards, please? Thank you. Wow. Okay, so somebody's getting married. Wedding came out. And that's kind of interesting because when I picked the two decks that I planned on using, one was the Page of Cups in one deck, and you can consider this pre-shuffle energy. And another one was the Four of Wands, which is also about celebration, a new foundation, so on and so forth. Also, two other cards that came out was the Justice card, the Emperor and the Empress, which is a divine couple. So that makes sense with the wedding, and it says, this situation involves marriage. This situation involves marriage. All right, let's see if any other timelines come out or if we're on the same timeline. May I have another card, please? I don't know why. This is going to sound so strange. I'm just going by what I hear in my head. I just heard that if someone's getting married, they want to elope or not have a wedding at all because they don't want to plan the wedding. Like, I feel like what happened was they started the process of like, okay, well, we want to book this church and how many guests are we going to have? And then what's the caterer going to do and all this other stuff. And when they started getting into the details of things, this person was just kind of like, forget it. We're not doing all of this. Let's just get our certificate, go to the courthouse, and then that's it. Again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, but that's somebody's story because that's what I just heard. So yeah, may I have another card, please? So thank you. Somebody is going to get married, but they're not going to go through the whole wedding because after they started, or once they started thinking about it, they're like, no, that's too much. Let's just get married. Okay, second card that came out is Retreat. It's time to disconnect from the world. You know what? This gives me honeymoon vibes, even though there's a honeymoon card in this deck. The reason I say that, if you notice here, it's a bride and a groom. And this is making me think after the wedding. Is what this is making me think. Now, something else I just heard too. Some of you just might need to get away if you're already married. Like just some you time together. Not around, if you have kids, not around the kids, not around the family, not around personalities and opinions or anything like that. If you're a married couple, you just want to get away from everyone else and just be able to enjoy each other. So yeah, what's at the bottom of the deck? Religious factors. It says, your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. So for some of you, going back to the wedding card, and it doesn't necessarily have to be with this. This could be a totally different timeline. But going back to the wedding card, religious views might play a role. Like somebody might be one religion and then you might be another. And then you may attempt to figure out, because for those of you who are going to go through the wedding process, clearly different religions have different customs for weddings. So it's a point of negotiating, hey, do we want to do this or do we want to do that? And actually that might be the thing that happened too, what I was talking about earlier, where someone is like, okay, how are we going to do this whole custom thing? Because your side does this and my side does that. And then it may have came to a thing of, you know what, forget about it. Let's just get married. We're not going to do the wedding. So again, I really feel that energy is there where someone is skipping the wedding because they don't want to have to deal with the planning. That is strong energy coming out. Let me take a few tarot cards right quick and then we'll wrap this on up. May I have the energy for Scorpio in regards to love? Energy for Scorpio in regards to love. Energy for Scorpio in regards to love. Can we clarify the cards on the table? Can we clarify the cards on the table? Can we clarify the cards on the table? What is it that Scorpio needs to hear? May I have some cards, please? Thank you. These went off to the side. 8 of Cups. Justice came out in my pre-shuffle in the other deck. So 8 of Cups and Justice. Someone's walking away from something. What's at the bottom of the deck? The Moon card is coming out again. This came out in the pre-shuffle in a different deck. Someone is walking away from illusions, is what's happening. Maybe there's a fear when it comes to this, where someone wants to make a chance. I feel like there may be an offer to get married, but another person might decline it because they're afraid. One card that came out in the pre-shuffle was, is safe to love again. I think that's what the name of the card was. I think it said, it's safe to love again. Something along those lines. So for some of you, you may be afraid to love and you might be putting on your running shoes and running away. But I do feel a wedding is happening. I feel a wedding's happening. I feel a honeymoon's happening for some of you, especially with the wedding and retreat. With the Justice card, that's definitely contracts and marriage. I really feel, too, that 8 of Cups can signify walking away from expectation. And what I mean by that is what I was talking about earlier with this wedding planning. Like for some of you, you may have families or friends or whatever that are like, oh, you're getting married, so you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Like there may be other people who want you to do certain things for the wedding and you're like, I don't want to do all this stuff. So again, this 8 of Cups could also be walking away from expectation. Now, something I did hear, but I'm not, was that someone may be walking away from a relationship and into a marriage. I did hear that, but I'm not really focused on that. But somebody may be walking away from a relationship and into a marriage. To each his own. May I have some more cards, please? Anything else we need to hear? And then also I heard someone might be staying. Like they're refusing to walk away. They're refusing to leave. Thank you. Strength card and the 3 of Swords. For some of you, going back to what I was talking about before, there may be somebody walking away from a relationship and into a marriage. For others of you, someone may have cheated on someone else and you decide to stay anyway. Or that person decides to stay anyway. So someone may have cheated on you and you decide to stay anyway. And some of you may even decide to get married because that person may have proposed, no, I'm really serious about this relationship. Let's get married. Da 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 da. We all have free will. You can do what you want to do. The Strength card, which is Leo energy. Also, Justice is Libra. 8 of Cups is a water energy. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. 3 of Swords is air energy. Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. All the signs that I just mentioned, you could be one of those signs or dealing with one of those signs, or the sign could be in your chart. With the Strength card, I feel like with some type of hurt, I see two things here. I see somebody who came from a past relationship that hurt them very badly, and it's taking the strength to trust and love again and not fear. You have to be brave to love again. For another party with these two cards, I'm picking up that someone was cheated on, but they have the strength to stay, not the strength to leave, even though the Eight of Cups is here. I feel they're harnessing their strength to stay is what they're doing. Again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Bottom of the deck is the Magician. So this is manifestation. What I feel, too, because don't forget the Magician was once the Fool. I feel that you've learned or they've learned to respect the power of love. If you haven't heard that song, you should listen to it sometime. It's a really good song. But someone has learned how to respect the power of love throughout this whole Three of Swords ordeal. That's kind of the energy that I'm getting. I'm still going back to the strongest energy, though. The thing that keeps on jumping out at me is someone does not want to plan the wedding. And because they don't want to plan the wedding, they want to go straight to the courthouse and get married. So, yeah. But obviously, there's a whole lot of other stuff here, too. So that is your message. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Till next time, be blessed.